Hey, it's Al. Welcome back. Okay, in the last exciting episode, we downloaded the code generator, generated some code, and created a empty project to put code into. Here's the generated code that I created, and there's the Video Blazor project I created over to the left there. Let's just make sure this thing runs first. I like to check my work often, because the longer you go without checking your work, the harder it is to figure out what you did wrong. And I can see this is working fine. That's what an empty Blazor project looks like. So far so good. Now, here it's telling us we need to add Dapper and the Microsoft SQL client to the project. So right click the solution file, pick manage NuGet packages for that. I'm using NuGet.org. Click browse and search for Dapper, and it should be this first one, I think. Sam Saffron. Yep, that's it. Click the checkbox and install, and OK. And then when that one's done, go back over here and search for Microsoft.data.SQL client. This is kind of the newer one. That system.data.SQL client isn't used as much anymore, so go ahead and make sure you grab Microsoft.data.SQL client, install it, and again, just follow the prompts. I accept. And when that one's done, click installed and X out the search box, and you should see those two. And they should also be here under packages when you expand out dependencies. All right, we don't need that tab anymore. We don't really need that open anymore either. It doesn't matter if you open that or not. Save the solution. All right, now it's telling me add the connection string to Appsettings.json. Grab those 3 lines there. Open Appsettings.json. Put a comma after allowed hosts here. And then paste in that code. And you have to put the connection string here. I use SQL Server Object Explorer usually for that. If you open that up right from Visual Studio, navigate to your database. I'm using this one right here. Click the little triangle next to that so it expands out. Then right click and choose properties, and you should see a connection string over here somewhere. Just copy that out and put it here next to SQLDB context. And that should do the trick. You can close and save that. And I believe we should be able to get a build now. And yep, it's still build, so far so good. Now what else is the generated code telling me? The stored procedures go in the database, not the app. So let's close up Visual Studio and we'll go back to Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Go back to my database. We need these stored procs for our basic CRUD. So go back to the working database, and here's the table we're working with, but what we're doing here is programmability. Want to right click stored procedures and choose stored procedure, and you get that template for writing a stored procedure, but you don't need to write them because they're already in here. Each one starts with create procedure and ends with end. Grab one of those and then replace this template code and click execute. And that should create the procedure. You won't see it right away. You have to click refresh and expand that out, but that's the one we just created, SP video insert. Okay, and then again, create procedure end for select all. Just replace the template code and execute. And then there's a one for select one from create procedure to end. And again, go back into Management Studio and replace that code and execute it. And then we have one for update down here from create procedure to end. Go back into SQL Server and paste that in and execute it. And then I think we have one more for delete. So grab that from create procedure to end, replace that code, paste it in, execute. And now when you can close out that tab. Now you don't need to save that query. When you refresh over here, you should see delete, get all, get one, insert, update. So that takes care of our stored procedures. And again, you didn't have to write any code, so it's kind of nice. It saved you some time. And what else do we have in here? It's telling me in the data folder, we need to do some work. So let me go back to Visual Studio, close out Management Studio, go back to Visual Studio, go back to my project. And here I need to get back to Solution Explorer and go to this, what did it tell me to do? The data folder, a video we need to create a file with this name. I'm just going to copy that name, and we'll add a class with that name. Okay, and then just grab that code and put it in there and close and save that. And now this one tells me I need something called video CS in the data folder. So right click data, choose add class, paste in that name. And the code for that is right here. Close and save that. If you've ever written this code, you can see it's doing what you probably would have written. Here's video service, add a class, and put that name in, click add. This is kind of a long one. Just keep going till you get to the very last closing curly brace. This is the stuff I really hate typing too. That's why I do code generators for this. All right, so that's in there. Close and save that. And going back to the generated code, we have an interface, iVideo service. So again, data folder, add class. This one's an interface, and the name is iVideo service. Click add. And now back to the generated code and grab that from the using to the closing curly. And that's the service. And what else is the code generator telling me? Oh, startup.cs. Usually that using statement is there. I'm going to open this up. Yeah, that's already there. But we need this code here. All right, we're going to replace that weather forecast service thing, which we're not using anymore. It's just in the scaffolding. We're going to replace that line with those lines I just copied. So those go in there. And I think that's it for the data folder and startup.cs. Let's close and save and see if we get a good build. Yep, great. We're not done yet, though. We still have some pages to work with so that we can test this code out. See you in number 3.